As I sit at my computer, wiggling my fingers to create these words, I occasionally have a fear about losing one or more of these attached digits. In recent decades, humans have made huge strides in creating prosthetic limbs. We have artificial legs that are able to adaptively support our weight and adjust to match our speed, enabling athletes with artificial limbs to run practically as fast as any other runner. We've also created artificial hands that can grasp, twist, and flex, capable of far more than just a pirate's hook. Researchers today are even working on limbs that respond to neural signals, allowing an amputee to control an artificial hand through thought, just like how you can control your hands in front of you now. Despite these advances, however, we're still firmly in the realm of robotics. We can't currently compete with members of the animal kingdom, like salamanders and crabs. These animals aren't unduly bothered by the loss of a limb. They simply regrow it. Why can't we do the same thing? Salamanders aren't particularly bothered by the loss of a limb, be that a front leg, a hind leg, or a tail. Within weeks, they will regrow that limb, complete with toes, when applicable. The how, in terms of physiology, has been well studied. Final cell type. All of us, when we were embryos in the womb, started off as a clump of stem cells. The stem cells grow and spread, and eventually shift into their final cell type. Some stem cells become skin cells. Others become neurons. Still others form our various organs. In the salamander, this ball of stem cells at the site of the wound multiplies and grows, with the stem cells converting into bone, muscle, and skin. A small, miniature version of the lost limb forms, which grows until it fits the rest of the animal. The salamander determines how much of a limb to regrow: just the foot, the whole leg. Based on several factors, including the presence of connective tissue cells, called fibroblasts, and levels of retinoic acid, our vitamin A scientists have added extra retinoic acid at amputation sites and observed that the salamanders regrow extra long arms, for example. So that's the how, in terms of what happens at the cellular level. But what about in humans? Could a human someday grow a blastema, and then eventually regrow a new limb? Surprisingly, humans do regenerate some limited features and organs. Consider liver transplants. Unlike a kidney transplant, the person who donates a liver doesn't have to struggle for the rest of their life on half a liver. The organ regrows, although it doesn't always reach the same capacity of function as before. Lungs also regrow, to a limited extent. This is one of the reasons why it's good to quit smoking. Over the year after quitting, the lungs will regrow many of the air sacs and surface cells. In fact, most of our organs have some turnover in cells, which explains why they're younger than our biological age. The human heart, skin, intestines, and even our bones are slowly replaced over time, meaning that a limited amount of damage can be reduced. However, this doesn't extend to limbs. Lop off an extremity, and it's not coming back. Why not? There's no certain answer, but there are several theories. One theory suggests that scar tissue is an adaptation, but one that prevents regeneration. Scar tissue forms quickly and helps seal over a wound, but it's made of different materials than unmarred skin, and it's fast and quick, but not performing at the same standard. If there's a hole in your roof, a quick patch is better than waiting for a more complex repair, even if it's not up to the same quality as the rest of your roof. Another theory is that the cellular machinery that triggered regeneration was lost, possibly because the growth of cells can look a lot like cancer. Better to prevent growth that could possibly get out of control than to risk the development of a cancerous tumor. We may also not have enough stem cells, or our cells have lost the capacity to naturally regress back to an undifferentiated state. Again, stem cells tend to pop up in cancerous tumors, so this loss isn't necessarily a bad thing for us. Finally, some of the challenge may be increased complexity. A human limb is more complex than that of a salamander. That may pose a challenge for regrowth. Humans can do some regeneration, but most of it happens before we're born. Examinations have shown that limb buds, which form during the first few weeks of an embryo's existence in the womb, are capable of fully regenerating without scar tissue, if they're lost early enough. In humans, an embryo fewer than 8 weeks old can fully regenerate a lost limb, but after 9 weeks, scar tissue appears instead. Researchers are, of course, searching for ways to encourage more regeneration in humans. However, given the immense complexity of the task, such a process will likely be slow and made through many gradual breakthroughs, rather than being a single solution away from happening. We can create new adult stem cells, but it's going to be a lot more work before we can encourage those cells to grow into a new limb. An earlier goal that's more attainable? Regrowing organs. There's promising work on taking an organ, such as a heart, stripping away its cells to leave just the structure, and then allowing human stem cells to grow on it. This technology may let us create perfect match transplant organs, potentially within the next few decades. Regrowing limbs, however, for the foreseeable future, this is still a trick that can only be pulled off by salamanders and crabs. We can't regrow limbs, but we can certainly grow our brains, by learning more and by watching science articles on Bulalord.